Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, All Things Taeler. I'm your host, Taeler Hendrix, and this is your WWE Royal Rumble post show. I am so excited. Thank you all so much for joining me. I was live tweeting with you guys, having a blast all night long on Twitter for the WWE Royal Rumble. It was the 34th annual WWE Royal Rumble. I had some really cool insight heading into this pay-per-view when I asked you guys on Twitter what was your all-time favorite ever WWE Royal Rumble. Now, we have had 33 to choose from until tonight. This was the 34th annual. Really cool to think that the first ever WWE Royal Rumble happened in 1988. Crazy how much the world has changed, and honestly how much the business has changed since 1988, the first ever WWE Royal Rumble. Now, as you guys know, we are officially on the point to the sign season, aka the road to WrestleMania. Tonight was a huge night for all of the WWE superstars and all of the fans in the WWE universe. You guys are going to start getting a better picture of what WrestleMania is going to look like. Now, we're going to press pause and halt all of those predictable tweets and comments and so forth. I kind of just want to give you guys a perspective of someone who's actually been in the ring and been in the business since they were 17 years old. I was just recently watching Becky Lynch on the Broken Skulls podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I'm stuttering a little bit because it was just the passion emanating from both of them is just so awesome, and a lot of her story I really related to in my own journey coming into the wrestling business. So I have that swirling through my brain as I'm getting ready to break down this year's Royal Rumble. Now, it was really cool to see it trending, but I think some of that stuff was a little interesting. So I'm going to bring you the news from somebody that actually knows. Get it? Here we go. We had a really fun way to kick off the WWE pay-per-view main show. We started off with the Universal Championship, where challenger Seth Rollins took on his former Shield mate, Roman Reigns. Everything has been on the line. There is no love lost between these two men. And honestly, what a great way to kick off a pay-per-view. You know, that match could have been the main event. So it was really great way to set the tone for the rest of the pay-per-view, in my opinion. One of the best things about positioning a card, because the card is supposed to tell a story in and of itself. You're supposed to start off with something that really gets the crowd excited and going. They paid their hard-earned money to be there, and so forth, and you know, so you kind of want to pay homage to that, but also too, you want to build to the main event. You want to tell a story within the card, and you know, wrestlers should perform to that while also putting their best foot forward for themselves, for their fans, and for their career, and honestly for their job. But so being the opener is one of the best spots on the show because you set the tone for how the show is going to get to the main event. That's really awesome. The crowd's excited to be there. They haven't seen anything yet. Nothing's old. Nothing's been done a million times. Openers are awesome. If you cannot be the opener, then obviously you want to be the main event. With that being said, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins did not disappoint. First off, the entrances. Seth Rollins did a really fun throwback. He paid homage to Shield. It was really cool. If you were following me on Twitter tonight, it was like, you're like, oh, I like Seth Rollins as a heel. He's very annoying. He's very good at that. He like plays with your emotions. He genuinely can make you angry. But then as a babyface, he was doing so good in this role. So you're like, I don't know. Which one would I prefer? That was done very well in this match. A lot of people did not really care for the finish, but I knew that by them doing a DQ finish for this match, it's saving them for something more. And I was right, but we'll get to that a little bit more. This match, in my opinion, was probably the best match on the card. And I'm also including both Royal Rumbles in that statement, and I stand by it. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, they did steal the show, which is crazy because they opened the show, and they still stole it. It was so well done, from the entrances to the finish, the energy. It was a whole vibe unto itself. It was amazing. And honestly, I really didn't care that it was a DQ finish. I saw so many people hating on that, like, you know, wrestling Twitter, right? Wow. To me, it was great because it's going to continue a story with two men that can go and that you want on TV. That being said, DQ, Seth won. He didn't win clean. He won by DQ courtesy of Roman Reigns, which means he didn't lose clean, I meant. And I kind of like that. Overall, I gave this match an A-. Let's see. Next we had, and we moved on to the Women's Royal Rumble. In my opinion, this was not a bad Royal Rumble. It wasn't their best Women's Royal Rumble either, but there were some highlights and some takeaways. First takeaway, Sasha Banks coming out at number 1. Mwah, awesome. It was the piece de resistance. Great. What was not great is who on their bingo card did not expect Sasha Banks to not end up in the Final Four? Not me. Anybody else? I was very shocked by this. You know, they had the big hype with her. She just made her comeback. She's back from injury. She got the one up on Charlotte right before the pay-per-view, like less than 24 hours before the pay-per-view. There was a lot of buzz. And obviously the Boss is one of the all-time favorites in the women's division right now. So when she was eliminated so early in the Rumble by Zelina Vega, there were some questions like, huh? It was kind of like, oh, well, Zelina, I see you, girl. I see you. All right. So that was a really great moment for Zelina. Not so much for Sasha Banks. So that was kind of a little like scratcher. I was like, where are they going with this? Michelle McCool was another huge takeaway. As you guys read in my articles for Fightful and in some of my tweets, I think Michelle McCool as a WWE diva and superstar in her own right does not get enough credit. She worked so hard to hone her craft, to earn all of her opportunities, not because of who she was married to, but because she earned them herself. And that is something I will always 1,000% respect. And she also had so much respect for the business. So for me, I'm always going to respect Michelle McCool. And tonight, she earned so much more respect from people all over the world. She was killing it. She looked like a star that had not left the WWE. Her gear was on point. Her stuff was crisp. Her moves were tight. It was awesome. They played homage to old storylines like Michelle McCool in Lay Cool versus Mickie James. All kinds of really awesome moving pieces there. So overall, loved Michelle McCool in this. Some of the legends, man, they were like popping them in and out one by one by one. Melina, was she even in there longer than Bobby Heenan in like, was that 92 or 93? I have no idea. Kelly, same thing. She was like in and she was gone. Ivory, I was so excited for Right to Censor. I was so stoked. It was like childhood all over again because you had Right to Censor, you had Lita, Molly Holly, and it was like all of them were getting eliminated like left and right so quick. I think the only I will say the only 3 legends, in my opinion, that had really good roles in this Royal Rumble were Michelle McCool, Mickie James, and Lita. And at least Lita was the one to eliminate Mickie James, so there was respect there, you know, getting eliminated by a Hall of Famer. That was really, really cool. But also, too, it kind of would have been nice to see Lita get a little bit further down in the count, especially because she also just had that segment with Charlotte. So it's like, why are y'all like slapping and getting the one up on Charlotte if there's not going to be a payoff in the Royal Rumble? So that was a little interesting. All in all, your final 4 ended up being Charlotte Flair, Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, and Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey did not miss a beat, guys. Did not miss a beat. And I'll have to say the same thing for Sarah Logan. Sarah Logan's look actually looked even better than when she left WWE. And I was like, that is awesome. You came back even better. Like, kudos to you. To me, that was awesome. That was fantastic. In the end, I really loved Ronda Rousey winning. That was a really good moment. It was goosebumps. As soon as I heard her music, I was like, yes! As you guys may or may not know, I'm a huge fan of Roddy Piper. I was on a show with him when I was very young in the business, and he was one of the most respectful, intelligent, welcoming, and helpful men that I had ever met in wrestling. Such a great man. So for her paying homage to him and his legacy, I'll always be behind that. 1,000%. So good. The final 2 were Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey for the win. And if you guys saw on Twitter, shout out to whoever made Charlotte Flair's gear, because guys, that was like over 10,000 stones. I would bet any money on it. And it looked like $1 million. Overall, I gave it a B- because there were some moments where I was like, oh, what? Huh? Wait, I blinked. What happened? And my thing froze a little bit, so I actually missed the part where Naomi eliminated Sonya Deville. I didn't get to see that. I was super stoked for the Bellas. The Bellas are always really nice and really good to me, so I was really excited to see them. And seeing Brie eliminate Nikki was awesome. It was like a callback to a different moment. So it was really, really awesome. All right, guys. Then we moved on to the Raw Women's title match. Now, I was wondering, and I missed it, but I had no idea that after Ronda Rousey pointed to the WrestleMania sign, I had no idea that something went wrong with the sign and it was like melting or on fire or something. I had a bunch of fans tell me, because I was like, what happened? I couldn't see it because my screen was like glitching at that point as well. And so I was wondering why there was a delayed reaction really, and the crowd really wasn't there the way they should have been for Becky Lynch versus Dewdrop for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, I love Dewdrop. I've been a fan of Piper for a very long time. I watched her on the indies all across Europe, and I was actually supposed to be on a show with her. I don't think she even knows that. So I supported her a lot in NXT UK. I've always had a very high opinion of her. I've seen her work her ass off, literally. So to me, that was a really amazing moment, because that's a culmination, guys, of years of hard work. Even if you knew she wasn't going to win, she still earned that. And you guys have no idea what that woman went through. You know what I mean? There's so many untold stories in wrestling. So to me, that was a huge moment. And I know that there was a lot of respect between her and Becky Lynch behind the scenes, you know, personas aside. So to me, that was a really awesome, really amazing moment. Overall, as you guys would have expected, Big Time Bex got the win with a manhandle slam from, I believe, the second rope for the 1, 2, 3. Big Time Bex continues. The people were crazy for Becky Lynch halfway through and towards the end. Overall, I gave this a B+. I feel like it almost could have been an A- had the crowd had a chance to be more into it early on, but they were completely distracted, and with good reason. I mean, there was like a fire of some kind, which is crazy. Also, kudos to the crew people, because they got that handled and everybody evacuated from the area super fast and super professionally, and they dealt with it, and then it was done. That's a good team. Moving right along. Next, we had Brock Lesnar putting his WWE title on the line against challenger, the almighty Bobby Lashley. Now, as you know, they had two masters of the game in their corners. You had Paul Heyman with Brock Lesnar. You had MVP with Bobby Lashley. This was going to be a really intense bout. We knew this going in. I think I said in an article for Fightful when I wrote about Lesnar and Lesnar and Bobby Lashley is, you know, who hunts a beast should do best to ensure that they do not become one. And so to me, I knew this was going to be like a slugfest in the form of brutality. I think anybody that goes up against Brock Lesnar has to know that that's going to be the kind of day in the office that it's going to be. And I think one of the people that would have been prepared for this was definitely Bobby Lashley. He stood the best chance. And so for me, I was not disappointed in this match. I saw people like berating this match. I actually enjoyed it because I knew what it was going to be. Now, with that being said, those men, they're going to need a good chiropractor tomorrow, because those suplexes, my goodness, I was like, your necks, protect your necks. That is a huge, huge problem. But luckily, they're so built that there's a lot of muscle there to protect their necks. But we've all seen that go horribly wrong. There's enough examples of that. I do not need to go into them. But I love the sheer brutality and brute force. Like, barricades did not stand a chance with Lesnar and Lashley. It was awesome. And then out comes Roman Reigns. The ref was taken out by Lesnar on accident twice, 2 times in a row, that poor guy. And so there's this big pause. Brock Lesnar actually gets the 1, 2, 3 on Lashley, but there's no ref to count it. St. Louis was there for it. They were counting it away. I think they got to like a 5 or 6 count. Down comes Roman Reigns, in for the spear on Brock Lesnar, gets the belt from Paul Heyman to Brock Lesnar. Lashley, being smart, sees this, takes advantage of it. Here comes a new count. 1, 2, 3. And your new WWE champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley. I actually enjoyed this match. I think it's going to be an evolving story, which I personally enjoy, because that's what originally drew me to wrestling. So I gave this a B+. I know a lot of people were like, because now Brock Lesnar is going to be in the Royal Rumble, but it's like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, just enjoy it for what it is. Wrestling Twitter. I personally really enjoyed it. All right, then we had the big shebang, the main event, the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, to be quite honest with you, heading into this event, I asked you guys a lot of questions. Who are your picks for the Men's and Women's Royal Rumble? What was your favorite Royal Rumble? Who's looking forward to this Royal Rumble? So forth and so on. And the people that had the most lackluster answers were all in regards to the Men's Royal Rumble, which is usually the opposite. Usually the people have, you know, the very lackluster and low expectations for the Women's Royal Rumble, which is very astounding to me. I guess maybe because I'm a woman in wrestling, so I always want, you know, women's wrestling to get the benefit of the doubt because I've seen how hard, you know, people work. But I digress. So going into this, it had less male competitors announced than the Women's Royal Rumble. The Women's Royal Rumble had a lot more participants announced, whereas the men, they kind of left you guessing, and I think a lot of people were disappointed. Overall, I gave the Women's Royal Rumble a C+. I'm sorry, I gave, I don't know what that was, so cross that out. I gave the Men's Royal Rumble a C+, but a lot of people were like, F, D-, F, and I was like, do it really need to be that harsh? It's entertainment. But, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. As you guys know, 30 men enter, only one can win. Once your feet touch the floor, you're done. That's all she wrote. You're out of here. You're fired. No, I'm just kidding. I am not a very good impressionist, but you get the idea. Now, one of the really cool things that I really enjoyed was seeing that the 27th entrant into the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble was Bad Bunny. I had just talked about Bad Bunny on my podcast. He, in record time, sold out one of his upcoming music tours, and so he announced a new one that has like 26 dates, I think it is, and it's already almost sold out, and it only went on pre-sale on Wednesday, January 26th. Crazy. This guy is on fire. And to be honest with you, he didn't look like a different industry star coming into this industry and pretending to fit in. Like, he actually looked like a full-fledged WWE superstar. He didn't miss a beat. He was entertaining. He excelled. He executed perfectly on so many things. His timing was top-notch. He took everything seriously. I could not say enough great things about Bad Bunny as the number 27 in the WWE Men's Royal Rumble. It was so cool seeing that. Now, that's not to gainsay Johnny Knoxville, because I'm a huge fan of Johnny Knoxville. I love Jackass. I actually recently just had my parents watch that, like, over the summer. That's a story in and of itself. I digress. He actually did a really good job, but Bad Bunny had more, so you expected with more comes more room to fail, but he excelled. Both men actually did a great job, and they excelled, and they were some of the more entertaining parts of the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, I will agree with some people on wrestling Twitter, there weren't as many surprise entrants that you would have expected. There wasn't a lot of men's legends coming into the WWE Royal Rumble, which was kind of disappointing, but there were some good highlights. You had Bad Bunny, who was a highlight. Johnny Knoxville was a highlight. Sami Zayn's part was a highlight. And by the way, he always looks like he's having the time of his life. I love that energy. Not every superstar can get away with it because it doesn't always look authentic. He looks like he's authentically enjoying himself and having the ride of a lifetime. And that's amazing. You want to see that from your WWE superstar, especially when this is like a dream that so many of us have had since we were children. It's amazing. I thought Almost did a very good job, especially considering he has limited experience and he's in there by himself. I was rooting for AJ Styles. You guys could feel that. I was soul crushed when he was out. I wanted him to get further along in the Royal Rumble. He is hands down one of the best men I have ever met in the pro wrestling industry. He is talented. He is crazy awesome. He is funny, respectful, passionate. He eats, sleeps, and breathes pro wrestling. And he's just a very creative person, and I think he's somebody who can make anyone look good, and he can wrestle any way. He is somebody that is an amazing get for your roster. So for me, I was like, yes, come on, AJ Styles. And then of course we had the return of Shinsuke Nakamura. I love him. He has just such a great contagious energy to be around in the locker room. Such a great guy, so talented. Crowds love him. You either love to love him or you hate not to love him. Like, just such a great person. They did really good stuff in the Rumble. And then obviously, because of the match result between Lesnar and Lashley, we had Brock Lesnar as the 30th entrant in the Men's Royal Rumble, and he would ultimately go on to win. So he will be heading to WrestleMania as well. I have a feeling he's on a collision course for Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley and MVP going forward, which I mean is perfectly understandable. As you guys saw on my Twitter, who else misses like old school Rey Mysterio entrances? Like when I posted that GIF, I almost put, I can hear this GIF. You know, who's that jumping out the sky? Rey Mysterio. Like, who misses that? Am I the only one? Like, I'm dying to see that again. It was awesome. Overall, I would say I gave the Men's Royal Rumble a C-. I think that was probably the worst one that I gave on the card. But I saw a lot of people giving the the Men's Royal Rumble an F. Overall, I had a lot of parts of these things that I could enjoy. It was really, really awesome seeing the home welcome of St. Louis for the Viper Randy Orton. And boy, were they not happy when Brock Lesnar eliminated him. I think that was one of the loudest negative reactions of the night, which was really, really cool to see personally, because that was such a good heel reaction. It was awesome. The pop for Rey Mysterio and Johnny Knoxville was awesome. It was great. The Bella Twins got a great reception. It was really awesome seeing Molly Holly, and I think I saw reported on Fightful that she was one of the people that produced the Women's Royal Rumble, and she was in it. So I thought that was absolutely boss. Overall, that was my take from this year's 2022 WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I like to take a look at a lot of the positives. I'll briefly give a nod to some negatives, but I think there's a lot of negativity already out there. And I think we should all come together and just, you know, allow for other people to enjoy different types of wrestling, different types of ideas. And I hope that we can continue to grow as an industry going forward. There were, you know, some moments. I know that something did not go right for Kofi Kingston's spot. I think there was something that happened there. But he is still one of the most talented, athletic individuals in the entire WWE. So I have no doubts that there is more great things for him in the future, as well as Big E. I was very sad to see Big E eliminated when he was. I was hoping to see him go a lot farther. I want to see him fight his way from the bottom back into the title foray. I think that could be a really, really cool babyface story of making, you know, the ultimate comeback. I had it all, I lost it, and now I'm back here again, and I'm never gonna lose it again. Like one of those sorts of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this WWE Royal Rumble post show. I am your host, Taeler Hendrix, and I want to say thank you so much for joining me on my YouTube channel. Talk soon, everybody.